I'm not allowed to touch students. Stabs him right in the butt crack. Anyway, I used to sub kids. You're telling me to think about students' colons. It was fine. Nobody searched it. I didn't get fired for that. I used to be a bathroom bouncer. Give the ocular pat down and make sure that person has really got a poo locked and loaded. They're not lying. In other words, I used to be a substitute teacher. One time I had to break up a fight between two pregnant teenage girls. Why were they fighting? Well, it turns out if you're pregnant and you're a senior, that's classy, very classy. If you're pregnant and you're a junior and you're gonna have the baby while you're still in high school, you a hoe pulling hair and punching and stuff. And I broke up that fight by yelling and then calling security because I'm not allowed to touch students. You don't touch a student. No. The only thing they ever taught me how to substitute was don't let kids go to the bathroom. That was it. And all the time, I'll get told this constantly. Every school, didn't matter. They'd all tell me this. Mr. Vice Principal Man would say, no bathroom passes unless it's an emergency. Okay, so when the next student asks to go to the bathroom and I say, is it an emergency? And they say, yes. What did Homer Simpson have to say about this?
I'd like the phone book for Hokkaido, Japan, please.
Okay, here you go.
May I please use your phone?
Is it a local call?
Yes.
So then I let them go. So you've just introduced into this process a completely useless question that they all know the correct answer to. Is that what we're doing? And he's like, you gotta tell if they're lying or not. I'm like, all right, so you're telling me, substitute, who's been in this building once, that I need to call poop bluffs? That's you want me to look at a teenage girl and go, no, I don't think the state of your uterine lining requires a trip to the lavatory currently. I'm calling your bluff. Talk about Texas Hold'em, you know what I'm saying there? Hey, Texas Hold'em, because it's topical. You want me to think very intensely about their bladders and colons? That's what, instructing me to do that. I'm just checking. You're telling me to think about students' colons. Just checking. That's my job now. All right. And then I would ignore that. As soon as I thought he was gone, I'm like, all right, you go to the bathroom. Because if a teenage girl is like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, I'm not asking why. What the fuck are we doing? Imagine your life right now if some strange man would have to like decide whether you can go or not. Like some of them are old enough to vote. So that's what a high school diploma's for. It's a license to poop. Unless you work at Amazon, I think. All right, substitute teaching. Classroom management tip number 1. First day, make someone your bitch.
You broke my hand. I just bent a little. I don't break them on the first offense.
All right, I'm just kidding. To become a substitute, you have to go through a very rigorous process where you go through a background check as long as you haven't been caught doing any P. Diddy stuff yet. No interview. No, they don't even check to see if you have a PDF files handshake. Nothing like that. This mustache, they don't care. It's fine. No, like Rorschach test. They don't check to see if you think little ink splotches look like dogs telling you to murder. Nothing. Show me these butts. Rub them butts together. When our butts combine, if you can pass a background check, you can dodge a ball. If you can dodge a charge, you can sub some kids. Anyway, I used to sub kids for about 7 years on and off. You guys have no idea how easy it is to get access to children. Am I right? That's right, Bubba. And I remember that I get asked all the time, like, so you want to be a teacher? I was like, no. And they're like, why are you here? I was like, it's a job. They're like, what? You don't want to be a student. Why are you here? Being kids, you know what I'm saying? And then I became an English professor for about a decade. Sometimes I would try to actually teach, and that's bad. Don't do that, because you can't. And they don't want to listen to you anyway. But I tried. And so occasionally if it was like it's like 6th grade math. I know how to do this. I can try to teach you guys this. They don't want to listen to you. One time I walked into an elementary school and this kid was like, are you from time travel? And then I tried to convince him that I was his teacher, but like with time, like his teacher is older, but I was the younger version of his teacher from like the 70s or I don't know, but math. He didn't believe me, but I tried. I really tried to lie to that child. If you want a job where like people are really excited to see you, like 40 times a day, people are like, you? What? Yay! Because this happens 47 times. Kid walks in and goes, are you a substitute? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, yes. And those are the kids you probably have to watch out for a lot of the time. Why are you so excited to have a substitute? I started subbing when I was 21. I did it for about 7 years on and off, undergrad, grad school, and came out of grad school for a little bit before I became a professor. Imagine how young and hot I was 17 years ago. That's right. I was once caught up in the patrol. Why aren't you, do you have a pass along with a teacher? Like a full-time, she worked their teacher. I was like, I'm a sub. Why don't they know who you are? Ooh, this is weird. So sometimes, being 21, I would walk over to a bunch of friends' apartment, right? It was pretty close. I would just throw some booze in my backpack, my regular, walk over there, hang out, drink some Mountain Dew and tequila, whatever, So one day I'm subbing for a middle school science teacher, and I go into my backpack to get my water bottle, and out comes a handle of Walmart tequila, which was about $11 probably. Anyway, this is Costco tequila. A lot has changed in my life in the last 17 years. Very different. So I decided that would be a show and tell day. All right, I'm getting fired and or arrested if I get caught. Do I try to sneak this back to my car? It's like, nah, just leave it in your backpack. No one's gonna search your backpack. It's fine. Just leave it in there. Don't do anything suspicious the rest of the day. And I didn't have this mustache yet, so I was something I could do. And then it was fine. Nobody searched it. I didn't get fired for that. Handle of tequila at a middle school, no big deal. Do a tequila toilet shot. Let's do that. Tequila in a toilet. Made in Jalisco, Mexico. This is very fancy. Oh god. Kind of looks like a pea color. Bottoms up. That's good. It's kind of vanilla. This is the best tequila I've ever drank out of a toilet. Was not fired. Sleep well, parents. So while I'm thinking about this, I got tequila. Don't get caught with this tequila. I'm looking around this desk. This middle school science teacher, public school. His desk, all his workspace is covered in materials from how to cram creationism into the public school curriculum, the magazine, the newsletter. There's a whole cottage industry apparently for science teachers who are Christian to try to cram creationism and sneak it into the public school curriculum. They got fucking magazines and newsletters, and here's how to do a activity to teach them about young earth creationism. It's like, good lord. I don't know, atheists and liberals are trying to brainwash the kids, and it's like, just go to any public school that's not in a big city. Go to Springfield, Missouri public schools, and you tell me they're not cramming some Jesus shit in there. This guy's brainwashing the kids. Someone should alert the authorities. Not me right now with my tequila, but someone should. So anyway, the moral of the story is me with my handle of tequila was better than their normal teacher. This might explain why America is the way it is, I think. Remember to lick, comment, and sub. If you don't subscribe, I'm gonna beat this dog at chess. Because he sucks at it. You suck at chess, don't you? Yeah, you're not good at chess. The first time I ever subbed in an elementary school. All right, I show up. I'm the music teacher. So I walk to the music room. Lady's like, oh, thank God, and hands me a folder and leaves. And I was like, all right, I'm now in charge of 30 fifth graders. They are all playing the recorder separately, independently, not in sync, just... And this class is ending in 2 minutes or whatever, and then their teacher's gonna come pick them up, and another teacher's gonna come drop off another class of second graders. Now the sub plans typically are written for you, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna be gone, so I'm gonna write these plans out. But this teacher had to leave suddenly, so what happens if they didn't have time to write plans? They just pull the most recent folder, and that one has her old plans for the last time she needed a sub. And she normally had a sub who was a retired music teacher. Get on the piano and play this game and do this. And I was like, I don't fucking play piano. I am not a musician. Can I log into a computer? Put on a movie? No, I don't have a login. I don't know how to get on a computer. Don't know how to do that. I don't have any DVDs on me. That seems like a thing you're not supposed to do. So that's when I decided today would be Duck Duck Goose Day. So just get all these kids and we're playing Duck Duck Goose. And I'm really good at Duck Duck Goose, especially against second graders. Here's the good strategy in Duck Duck Goose. It's called the instant goose, which they're expecting you to go duck, 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 goose. Oh, okay. No, you just go goose on the first kid and run. Oh, they're not ready for that shit. So every 20 minutes, some lady'd come in and be like, can I get Braden and Jaden and Faden? I'm like, yeah, they're not my kids. Do whatever you want with them, lady. I don't know who you are. I don't have a roster. It's just a second grade teacher drops them off. There you go. I don't know. Have fun, lady. For all I know, she's trafficking these kids, just boss bitch stuff. I don't know. I'm playing Duck Duck Goose all day. I'm having a pretty good time. It's not so bad. So I see her the other day, and she's like, oh, is this your first day at this school? I was like, this is my first day at any elementary school. And she goes, oh, that's crazy that your first day would be head lice inspection day. So I got head lice. Ow, my balls. I subbed for 3 different districts in a number of cities, and I discovered that the inner city schools and the suburban schools very different. In the suburban school at homeroom, 7:30, the white kids are sipping their lattes and they're reading the stock reports or whatever. In the urban school, 7:30 in the morning, they're twerking and making videos of it. I was like, how do you have the energy at 7:30 in the morning to twerk? I didn't stop them. I was like, it's whatever. It's one of the perks of the job. Anyway, I was once asked, and I wrote it down. This is a quote. Would you whoop your daughter if she twerked on Vine? For the kids these days, Vine was kind of like TikTok, sort of. And I had to explain to them that I'm way too white for this question. My main tip, my technique, here's what I would do for classroom management is just to say, I don't care, so just don't get me fired. That's it. So like if some vice principal, important, whatever shows up, just make it look like I at least told you not to do shit. Like, so if you're on your phones, just make it look like you're trying to hide it a little bit, you know? And if they ask like, hey, get off your phone, don't be like, he said we could. Don't snitch on me, you little bitch. Like, just pretend like I told you not to do that a couple times. I'm like, oh, I'm so exasperated. I keep telling these kids, oh, I'm really trying. That's all we gotta do, right? So you can do whatever you want. Text each other, snap your wiener pic. Just don't get me fired. Anyway, I got fired once. That's really more of a high school thing. Elementary school, you can't do that. Like, you gotta, like, that's babysitting. You really have to get involved. I wasn't a fan of elementary school. And middle schoolers are sociopaths who will kill for fun just because they've discovered they have the power. The fancy suburban schools had everything online, so you just look on an app and see like what teaching jobs are available. But when I was at this urban school,
I taught school for 20 years in the inner city, so don't even think about messing with me.
They just had a lady who would call you on the phone. It was like at 10 o'clock at night, you get a phone call. Hey, will you take this assignment? And it's not like, here's the 12 options. It's like, do you want this? So you can't like look and pick and choose. It was like, and so at first I thought this lady was looking out for me. You know, I'm new, maybe she'll give me like the easier assignments. I learned quickly, she's just calling everyone on a list until she places all the assignments. So she's like a used classroom salesman, and she's gonna talk you into some shit. So one night I get a call from the subline lady, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a really easy assignment for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." It's not special ed, it's life skills. I was like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's, you know, like how to balance a checkbook and what are taxes. So I show up and on the door it says special ed and all teachers saying special ed teacher this and that. I was like, oh. And there's a para in there though. And so paras, you know, I was like, all right, is this like a student teacher situation? I'll let her do. No, she was fucking useless. Didn't do anything all day. So I go to the teacher's desk and it is just a giant mess. Like I cannot find anything. And it's like, sometimes teachers have like 3 desks put together. It's just like a sea of papers as far as the eye can see. I'm trying to figure it out. Basically all I can figure out is I've got like a couple worksheets for them to do. So I have the same 8 kids all day and I have like 40 minutes worth of stuff. So anyway, I've got about 3 minutes until 8 special ed kids show up, and I've got a para that's useless, and I've got a hoarding situation to sort through. Hey, who was that? Hey, stop. You don't need to be showing your teeth at anybody. One of her lesson plans for me was look on a calendar and figure out which awareness week it is, and then talk to the kids about the awareness of that. And it happened to be Diabetes Awareness Week. I was like, all right. So I guess, hey, special ed kids, what is diabetes? And I asked, like, is anyone in here diabetic? Half the class raised their hand. I was like, okay.
How many of you in here have kids?
You got a kid?
Okay. And one girl goes, yeah, I was supposed to go get my insulin like an hour ago. I was like, is it my job to know that? Are you gonna tell anyone? How about this para? Did she know this? Like, go do that, please. If it hadn't been Diabetes Awareness Week, would this girl have died? Like, was that how lucky we got? I almost had a student die on me. There was a girl in the class named Harmony. Actually, there were 2 of the 4 girls were named Harmony. Harmony had, I'm gonna say, 48 triple J titties. I don't know bra sizes at that scale, you know, up on the, is it like logarithmic? She could crush melons with these, you know, crush some cans with these things or something, but not wearing a bra. And then this kid, Arquez would just run up to her and just juggle her titties. Just like, boop, 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 boop. And she'd go, oh, hey, and like chase after him and he'd run away. This happened like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, hey, Arquez, quit sexually harassing Harmony. And then this other Harmony's like, what's going on? I'm like, okay. It seemed like they were maybe dating or something. It seemed like they were flirty. And then like, if she wasn't looking, he'd run up and juggle her titties again. I was like, okay. The parrot didn't give a shit. I guess this is a standard thing. I don't know. She's not all that upset about it, I guess. Arquez is standing there and his pants are sagging. I mean, this wasn't an unusual amount of sag. It's excessive, but not unusual for this high school. So it's like pants are to like mid thigh, and then mid upper thigh to like upper butt crack is just underwear, and then butt crack is just naked, top of the butt crack, right? Anyway, he's like standing, like leaning over a computer, and Harmony goes up to him with a pencil and stabs him right in the butt crack. He kind of deserved it. I was like, I'll allow it. That seems fair. Because then he'll juggle her titties again. I'm like, all right. End of the day, we're doing it's a Friday, and we're just doing like, get up and say what your weekend plans are. Like the para this was like the one thing she did all day was like get them to stand up and do it. A white kid stands up and is like, I'm Timmy, and this weekend I'm gonna go to the mall with my grandma and look at shoes. All right, Timmy. All right, Arquez. Arquez gets up there, and he won't even face her. He's just like, this weekend, I'm gonna turn it up. And then the pair's like, what? What are you gonna do? And he's just like, oh, I'm gonna turn it up. And he walked out. He left the room. And then she was like, kind of got up to go after him, but then the bell rang right after that. He timed it with the bell. It was like a mic drop / Saved by the Bell. He's just turning it up. And I was like, this kid, he's dropping the mic. He's juggling titties all day. I was like, I will never in my life be as cool as this special needs black kid. Like, he's cooler than me. I wanted to go hard R there. Did you hear that? I'm not racist, but whenever I meet a black person, I just assume that they're really cool. That guy's probably cool. I hope he thinks I'm cool, you know? Kids these days are saying like skibidi, Riz, Phantom, you know? And I'm like, these are some pretty uncool. Hey, no, come here. Skibidi and Riz, and they think those are super cool. And they're not cool at all. And like, I feel like though, if black people came up with skibidi, it would be cool. And I'm pretty sure, and this is not just a theory because we've done this experiment, because black people started saying like, fashizzle, right? It was, fashizzle. And white people took that and said it a lot and then made it uncool. I think if black people came up with skibidi, it would be cool. Black people are just so naturally cool that like, they're really into magic. You know, you ever see like street magic and people like, the white guy is like, how did he do that? I'm gonna get a different angle and figure out how he did that. And black people, like their brains melt and they think they've met a wizard. And it's like, what a 7-10 split this is. Black people think magic is cool, but they're still cool. Like if I told you, hey, picture a white guy who's like really into magic. Does he look cool in your brain? I don't think so. But black people are really into magic, but somehow they're still cool. I don't know how they do that. That's the real magic right there.
There's some things that just can't be taught.
If you try the like, I'm big and I'm gonna yell, I'm gonna be really tough, I'm like a drill sergeant.
I'm the merciless god of anything that stirs in my universe. You fuck with me, and you will suffer my wrath.
If you're built like an offensive lineman, you know, maybe you can get away with that. I'm not getting away with that. If students are gonna come back at me, yell back at me or something, I'm like, all right, detention. I'll just call security, you know? Security, this is what you need to figure out. How to get security. You call security and a 300-pound black man shows up, and then they don't really put up a fight at that point. I found this Reddit comment in the Substitute Teachers subreddit. All right. This is one weak-ass culture if it allows stuff like that for a minute. Cultures in collapse are run by women and children because men are sidelined. If a man went in there and literally kicked the shit out of the offenders, he would be prosecuted. After the collapse, men are back in charge because it's a lawless situation and men have to be men and women have to be glad of it. Okay, that's how like the men are like, women need men to protect them, and then the women are like, protect them from what? Yeah, like teaching is very female dominated. A lot like it's like the younger you go, the more female it skews the teaching. So when I show up in an elementary school with this mustache, I get a lot of looks. You know, a lot of like, ooh, what's this person doing here? But like college professor, everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. You look like that. What a fucking idiot. Like if you go into subbing thinking I'm going to be big, tough drill sergeant man and I'm going to yell at them and then I'll get order. You need to be able to tolerate some amount of chaos. Acceptable. We have an acceptable level of chaos. That's fine. Get through the day. If you're like, I need drill sergeant mode, I'm going to make everyone shut up. Everyone's going to be on task. You're going to have a bad time. You're going to have to be very antagonistic. You're trying to maintain order like that with kids you don't know. It's not going to go well. Your blood pressure is going to go. You're probably eating raw steak all the time anyway because you're an insane, no, I'll get order. I'm going to teach these kids a thing or two. Women don't know how to teach the kids, and I'm gonna be tough.
We're gonna talk about Vietnam.
Yeah, who? Fuck that shit, yo.
You had to be resourceful in Vietnam. You had to grow eyes in the back of your head.
Those dudes have coronary artery explosions and then get in a fight with a kid and get fired after like a week. So you gotta really just be like, keep it even keel. If you get disrespected, be like, all right, just go to the office. Just get out of here. You're not here to fix them. You're not here to be a teacher. You're here to babysit temporarily. That's all you're capable of doing. I learned a new slang word, and by new I mean 15 years ago. I learned the word boosy. Do you guys know boosy? Kids these days, you know this hot slang? Before skibidi, we had boosy. Pray tell, youth, what is this boosy? And they're like, you know, it's when someone's being all like, boosy. I'm like, no, I don't know. So what do you do when you have this problem? You don't know the slang. You go to Urban Dictionary. I don't know if that's still what you do, but that's what we did. I went to Urban Dictionary and I discovered that on Urban Dictionary, it's written by white suburban kids. Because this is how uncool white kids are. They think they're being cool and subversive by maintaining a dictionary. Okay, very cool. Pew. Oh, good catch. I once was in a classroom, and in the back of the room, 20 feet away from me, there are two black girls arguing with this black boy. They're arguing with him, saying, you will go down on women. And he's like, nah, for me, I don't do that. And they're like, yeah, you will. You will go down on women. And I was just like, you guys know I can hear you, right? Like, I'm not, it's like right there. And they're like, well, you can hear that?
I'ma lick your pussy like this.
So I wanted to be like, hey man, be less of a stereotype. Come on, like that's, black dudes don't go down. That's a stereotype. Let's, I don't know, maybe I'm the uncool one. My main advice is to figure out a way to marry your life experience with the kids, really connect with them. Like, for example, maybe you're a mercenary who was a Vietnam vet, but you're in like this inner city school, like gang violence. And so you're like, hey, Vietnam is a lot like gang violence, where instead of Crips and Bloods, we had like a communist gang and a capitalist gang.
The war in Vietnam was about turf. The gangs in the north wanted to take over the turf of the gangs in the south. You're late, Juan. That'll be one demerit.
And I'm Tom Berenger. That's the substitute. Or you're Treat Williams, who Treat Williams. What is this? It's like, we found a man. His haircut says he could be an actor, so we're gonna put him in films. That's Treat Williams. Anyway, this is the actual gun I carried when I was a substitute, because I had to murder about 40 students. The gang violence, they're doing drugs and stuff, and they're doing chop shops. If you've ever seen The Substitute, it's a pretty good film. There's a quadrilogy of Substitute films. I don't know if you knew that.
This ain't your class, bitch. I care what the fuck I want. You better take that Superman shit somewhere else.
All right, hand over the ice pick.
Where you going, Hollywood? I see you too. Yes, you're being a good dude. Oh, he went to a kennel to get something to chew on loudly. That's what he's doing. No, I think he went in there to throw up. did you throw up? Somebody just threw up and I had to clean that up. And then somebody knocked a light over. What are you doing, bub? Did you throw up? Dealing with throw up. All right, so here's a post from our substitute teachers. I'm thinking I might retire from my job at the end of the year and maybe become a substitute teacher in Chicago. In my current job, I create quality reports and administer a quality system. That sounds like a quality employee. So I'm real good with computers and Excel, and that's exactly what teaching is. And have very good communication skills. My reason for wanting to be a substitute teacher is because I think I could help be a positive influence on inner city boys, which I believe are neglected due to all the attention going to help girls succeed. And he spelled do wrong. So bro, who thinks he's gonna go be a positive influence on inner city boys? You've seen Tom Berenger's The Substitute and Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer so many times, you're not going to be a positive influence. They're going to be like, can I go to the bathroom? And you'll be like, so, you know, in the real world, this is how things work with Excel spreadsheets. And you'll be like, buddy, what the fuck are you talking about? Here's how it went in Vietnam. Who doesn't have a good role model? You know, these inner city boys really need a good, solid role model. Like me, a white man. I'm gonna tell these inner city boys what give them a what for, you know? Women have too much power in education. You should try subbing merely so you can see how wrong you are. The lack of attention isn't from schools. LMAO, no, just no. Subbing isn't an after-school special. You'll be underpaid and miserable, especially in the area you want to sub in. Yeah, this dude probably subbed like 2 days and was like, this was really boring. Ooh. Oh yeah. Jacob, who's on the channel, you know Jacob, he just started subbing. I have a friend who's a comedian who was a teacher and he was fired from his teaching job for farting on students. So I might bring him in. Anyway, so if you have any questions for the sub, old sub, new sub, teacher, roundtable, put those in the comments. Shaking it and dancing around while shouting, look at my nuts. These children think I'm really sexy. That's... I'll tell you, not just my favorite, but the best sex toy there is. I had a first grader today who spent the entire period saying things like, pee in my mouth.
Great editing, too. Who was the editor?